So the NBA draft is pretty much here, and Sixers fans are getting into some pretty intense debates as to who they should pick with the third overall pick after they got it, after they had a chance of losing it in the draft lottery. So, yeah, Cooper Flag, Dylan Harper, we all know they're going number 1 and number 2, but things get really interesting once the Sixers become on the clock. You got a whole pool of talent available, whether it's a V.J. Edgecombe, Ace Bailey, Trey Johnson, Con Knipple, Jeremiah Fears, Malawach, a lot of really good players who are surely going to have some long careers in the NBA. But, the Sixers, they want to draft someone who is going to help them immediately as well as contribute right now. I think that is what Daryl Morey is trying to do, trying to save his job right after the disaster that was last year's offseason. This season, like with the Embiid extension and the Paul George contract, Daryl Morey, he is going to try and hit on this draft pick. And Daryl Morey, he's good at drafting, so I do trust him. But as for who I want the Sixers to draft, this is going to be my final prediction and my, final expression of who I think the Sixers should take, and that is none other than V.J. Edgecombe. Now, we are going to react to a recent report about his bad workout with the Sixers and really discuss whether it's something to, pay attention to, something to take seriously. And then we'll talk about, why I think the Sixers should take VJ over Ace Bailey at this point, because last month I was all in on Ace Bailey. I mean, you can go check back if you even give a shit about what I say in the first place. But, I mean, if you do, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button for your boy NZ. I appreciate it. But, yeah, we're just going to talk about, I guess, this article here about V.J. Edgecombe. He recently worked out with the Sixers, and apparently it did not go very well. So this was from ESPN's final mock draft before the draft, and says that while sources say Edgecombe appeared nervous during his private workout in Philly and did not shoot the ball particularly well in an unnatural one-on-one setting, he made a strong impression in interviews and meetings, something the front office values more highly. Yeah, I think the Sixers are going to be picking V.J. Edgecombe just right off the rip, because I think Daryl Morey, he is done with all the headaches and just done with all the narcissists, whether it's Ben Simmons, James Harden, and what seems to be Ace Bailey. Now, in my initial reaction to the Ace Bailey, declining his workout with the Sixers, that entire ordeal, maybe I think I was being a little bit unfair because I didn't consider enough whether it was him saying all this or his agent just being a tool. You know what I mean? His agent just not properly managing the reputation of his client. So Ace Bailey, though, the whole comment at the combine about taking tough shots, you could say it's confidence, you could say it's cockiness, but wanting to be on a path to stardom. Not only did you not work out for any team, but a lot of those comments by him, it just rubs me the wrong way, because it's not a good situation for him or the Sixers, because the Sixers, what they need, I think, they don't really have a chance to be competing. I know the Eastern Conference is pretty much wide open now that the Pacers and the Celtics, they're down, Tatum's down, Halliburton is down. The Knicks, the Knicks are good, the Cavaliers are good, but the Sixers, if they are fully healthy, they are pretty much on par with both of those teams. But, you got the Orlando Magic as well. I think that the Desmond Bane addition was definitely a really solid move for them. They did overpay a lot for him, but regardless, he works out a lot with what they're trying to do, getting more floor spacing. So the Sixers, they can match up with those teams if they are fully healthy. And adding a defensive-minded guard who can lock down on the perimeter as well as space the floor, that is something the Sixers really need. And, you got Quentin Grimes, sure. But I think, the Sixers, they have had so many depth issues. And I think it's fine to just take having, that log jam at the guard spot. I think it's better than just not having any depth at all. And VJ, he is around 6'4", barefooted, only a half inch shorter than Dylan Harper, and he's considered a big guard. So he could probably defend some wings from time to time. Maybe, he's going to defend the 1, the 2, and probably maybe the 3 in spurts. But, V.J Edgecombe, he is a freak athlete, the best athlete in this class, a really smart defender and a really quick defender too. And if we have learned anything from the NBA playoffs and just watching basketball in general, it's that you need a top defense in the league in order to do anything. And you need guys who can lock down the other team's best player. I mean, look at the Boston Celtics. They had Drew Holiday and Derek White. Look at the Milwaukee Bucks. Well, their move to trade for Drew Holiday, some would argue that really put them over the top. Yeah, you had Giannis being Giannis, but still, Drew Holiday was playing fantastic defense for them. And then you go look at the Indiana Pacers. Yeah, the Pacers, they did not win the championship, but they did give the OKC Thunder, a stacked team, a really good fight, a run for their money. And Andrew Nembhard was playing excellent defense on SGA. And, the Thunder themselves, they have Alex Caruso and Aaron Wiggins, Cason Wallace. Even go, way back. You got, the Golden State Warriors with Klay Thompson and, the Spurs back in the day with, Bruce Bowen and Kawhi and these top-level defenders to complement their star. You need to play both sides of the ball. And, yeah, the Sixers, I think, when you have Joel Embiid, he covers a lot of weaknesses for your team, both offensively and defensively, just with how amazing he is on both sides of the ball. But you still need a solid perimeter defense to help him out because his, impact at the rim when it comes to rim protection, it can only go so far. Rudy Gobert likes to get clowned a lot, but, back in his days in Utah, they did not have any perimeter defense whatsoever, and he was still making a big impact on their team, but still, he was getting picked apart on the perimeter. I mean, I don't really know where I'm going with that, to be honest. I don't know why I'm comparing Embiid to Gobert, but what I'm saying is that you can have a really good rim protector, but you still need good perimeter defenders. I think that's really what puts a championship team over the top when the league is dominated by wings and guards and, that sort. So V.J. Edgecombe, he really fits that bill. I think, yeah, he's 19 years old. He did not look good in his workout, according to the reports, but look, he's 19. Of course, he's going to be nervous when you're trying out for an NBA team. You know what I mean? Straight out, freshman year out of college. And it was a one-on-one, too. It wasn't a five-man scrimmage. And I think fans are they're really overblowing this to an insane degree, probably because they just want the Sixers to really go out for that talent in Ace Bailey. And I think V.J. Edgecombe, yeah, would it have been nice if the Sixers were really impressed by how he was on the floor? Sure. But let's go back to where, when he actually played in college, he shot nearly 40%, 39% in conference games in college. And, those are, really big events, obviously, within the season because it's within your own conference. So Edgecombe, he is capable of really rising to the occasion. I don't think he's necessarily scared of the moment. Now, nobody has a crystal ball here, but I just don't really value this that much. I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of situations where a player did not impress at a workout, but he still got drafted and he still had an amazing NBA career, right? This is not the end-all, be-all by any means necessary. Now, Ace Bailey. Does Ace Bailey have the potential to become an all-star level player? Sure. I mean, the shot making is there, the talent is there, but there are just with his antics and with his attitude, I don't think he is talented enough to where you can take those antics into consideration and still draft him. If he was putting up Kevin Durant, Texas type of numbers and he was doing this, I think, yeah, you still need to take him. But he had a good, not great season at Rutgers. Rutgers was terrible. Yeah, they didn't have a good team around Bailey and Harper, but still, what we found out about Ace Bailey was that he wanted, or his camp at least, they want him to chuck up a bunch of shots so he can, go on a path to stardom and really be that guy right out the gate. And I guess that's sort of what happened at Rutgers and what they want to happen in the NBA. So Ace Bailey is on I think a completely different trajectory when it comes to what he wants to accomplish in the NBA right out of the gate. And if he expects to come to Philly and be, I don't think first option, but take, more shots than Paul George or Jared McCain or something, that's completely out of the question. That is ridiculous. He's not even going to be starting on the Sixers because Nick Nurse is our coach. Ace Bailey, in the best case scenario with the Sixers, he would be playing a bench role as an off-ball shooter who would be cutting and rebounding and playing his ass off on defense and diving for loose balls and stuff like that, capitalizing on his strengths as a perimeter shot maker while, in the, behind the scenes developing his, defensive awareness and his ability to drive to the rim. Speaking of that, Ace Bailey, he's getting a lot of comparisons to Jason Tatum. And yeah, you go look at the stats of when Tatum was in college, and they do put up similar numbers, and they were critiqued for their shot selection. Now, my problem with Ace Bailey is not his shot selection. I mean, when he was at Rutgers, who was he going to pass the ball to other than Dylan Harper? You know what I mean? Of course he was going to shoot a bunch of shots. And that's the problem, because in Philly, Joel Embiid is getting those shots. Maxey is getting those shots. Jared McCain and Paul George, they are going to be taking up the majority of the shot diet. And Ace Bailey, it's not really going to work out for him if he wants to be taking like 15 shots per game on a trash team, because the Sixers, although, they are an embarrassment when it comes to the playoffs, believe it or not, they still are trying to compete for a championship. And Ace Bailey, I don't know if he is ready to contribute at an NBA level like V.J. Edgecombe can when he is, still a solid shooter, and he can play really good defense and fill in the gaps for the Sixers. And yeah, do they have a logjam at the guard spot? Yes, I'm not denying that whatsoever. But I still think you can take V.J. Edgecombe. I think he still has star potential, but can also elevate your team now and raise your team's floor, because he's being lauded as, one of the most NBA ready players in the draft. And if you go look at his college tape, you can definitely see that. I mean, his athletic tools, his defensive IQ, his ability to move off ball and, be a secondary playmaker, it's there. It's all there. He has all the intangibles to become a really solid NBA player. And everyone's going to say, yeah, like he's just going to be like a super role player. Even if he is a super role player, I mean, that's like the best draft pick the Sixers would have made in like the past 40 years, other than like Embiid and Maxey and McCain. Like that, or I shouldn't phrase it like that, but that would still be one of the best picks they have made in the last 40 years. Even if like V.J. Edgecombe becomes like a god tier role player, like Marcus Smart or something. But I still think, at least according to the reports, that the Sixers like his work ethic. Tyrese Maxey admires him a lot for it. Even flew out to dinner to meet with him and stuff like that. So V.J. Edgecombe seems to be, the guy that the Sixers would take because of his attitude, because of how well he can benefit the Sixers culture. And that's another thing too. Ace Bailey's mindset, I don't think it could be conducive to winning right away. I mean, with the Sixers, like, yeah, if he literally becomes Jason Tatum 2.0, I mean, the talent is just the talent. You know what I mean? Of course, you're going to build your team around Ace Bailey, but when it comes to the now and to the future, you still don't know, man. We really all don't know what's going to happen with any of these prospects. None of us have a crystal ball or anything. But I'm just saying, I think V.J. Edgecombe fits a lot of the needs that the Sixers are looking for and that they have been looking for throughout the entire process era, and that is point of attack defense, off-ball scoring, and just a glue guy, someone who can fill in the gaps and lock down the other team's best player. And I don't think Ace Bailey has that. He is a good scorer, one of the best shot makers in the class, but I think he's too raw. I don't think like his, the amount of a raw talent that he is, it compensates enough for his, concerning mentality and, his agency. Like, I don't want to deal with more narcissists, more, player like agent, like, we had to deal with like Rich Paul back in the day. And I think Maxey's represented by Clutch Sports too, but that's been fine so far. But because Maxey is just that humble of a guy. But I think like Ben Simmons. I'm just thinking of the Ben Simmons situation, and it is giving me PTSD when I see Ace Bailey. Just a guy who thinks he's going to come to the league immediately, be a top 15 player, and will never have to improve because he can just make all the tough shots or whatever. And if he was better at driving to the rack, if he was a little bit more polished on the offensive side of the ball, yeah, he is 18. I know he's 18, but Kevin, he's getting a bunch of comparisons to Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum, and they were a lot more polished. And so Ace Bailey, Yeah, is he the more talented player than VJ? Yeah, sure. But there are so many red flags, and I don't think Daryl Morey or the Sixers can avoid another mishap, another missed draft pick, just another draft disaster. And everyone's comparing it to like Markelle Fultz too. Like Markelle Fultz, he had like thoracic outlet syndrome, like a rare condition that busted his jump shot. You know, like V.J. Edgecombe, he has a good looking jump shot. I'm sure he's going to adjust to the NBA. He looks like a gym rat, a workhorse, and someone that the Sixers are going to value into the future when they're trying to build a championship culture, because culture is important. The Sixers, they haven't really had that at all. Guys who are just going to be 100% committed to the team, not be selfish, and focus only on the success of the 76ers. And Tyrese Maxey seems to be the leader of the pack. Jared McCain seems to be, Jared McCain is pretty jacked, I'm not going to lie. And Maxey, of course, we all know about his work ethic. And I think if you compare Maxey with a defensive-minded backcourt player, that can work out a lot too. You need that. I already explained that, like all these championship teams, they have a guy who can lock down the other team's best player and really make an impact outside of just scoring. And if the Sixers take Ace Bailey, am I going to be upset with it? I'm not going to be upset with it because, yeah, it makes sense to take the best available talent at number 3, but it just does not seem like he wants to be here, and I think there are a lot of concerns when it comes to his offensive game and whether that is something he's going to develop, because he really does not have much of a handle at all. He can't really get to the rim at all, blow by anybody, and is not a good passer. And historically, when it comes to lottery picks, that really does not translate into a star-level player. And yeah, you could say like KD and like Paul George or whatever, they had to work with that too. But I think they were still a lot more polished when they were playing college ball. And yeah, if they take Ace Bailey, I'm not going to be upset with it. I'm going to make the thumbnail so it's a little bit clickbaity. But, V.J. Edgecombe, I think he is the pick for the Sixers. I think it is a smart pick because it could help them now. It could also help them in the future when you have Tyrese Maxey as your focal point, as your franchise. You need to surround him with guys who can operate on other sides of the ball. And I think V.J. Edgecombe can do that, and I really want them to pick V.J. Edgecombe. Then you consider like Con Knipple. And Con Knipple is going to play like 20 years in the NBA. I think he is really good. The Sixers could use someone like him too, but I don't know if that is a guy who you would take with the number 3 pick, to be honest. I think that is a situation where Daryl Morey would trade down with another team. And although Con Knipple is a fantastic floor spacer, he's an underrated athlete too. He can drive to the basket. He plays physical. He tries hard on defense, but he doesn't have that lateral quickness, but, he is a dead eye from deep. And the Sixers, they could always use some more shooting, but they also need defense. And the Sixers could use a guy like V.J. Edgecombe because he is such a smart perimeter defender and can contribute immediately. I think I've already said that like 80 times. But, yeah, I think, if you get to take like Con Knipple or Trey Johnson, you might as well just trade down. And, look, I'm so excited for the draft, man, because I have no idea what's going to happen. Nobody knows what is going to happen other than the fact that Cooper Flagg and Dylan Harper are being taken number 1 and number 2. But as us Sixers fans, we are in for a lot, and I'm really excited. And, yeah, man, we just got to wait it out and see what Daryl Morey will do. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. I appreciate it. I love pumping out this content, and I will continue to do so throughout the offseason, so please stick with me. I appreciate it a lot. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.